Hello and welcome to Nick the Uncensored. Today we've got Holly Celiano, and today she's going to explain the financial system in layman's terms, so that a lot of people can understand exactly how the new financial system looks like. A lot of people are confused. Even I'm a bit confused, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your take on this. Holly, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Nick. And this is a lot of people are so confused on this new financial system, how it all unfolds and how it's being implemented. And it's been done in such stages that it creates a lot of confusion. So I'm going to break it down so everybody hopefully gets a better idea of it. And I took notes, so I'm going to read off my notes if that's okay.
Absolutely. And just before we begin, because we're back on YouTube and we want to honor we don't want to get a strike. So I just want to say
Wow.
out just for a disclaimer that myself and Holly are not financial advisors. So we're not giving any financial advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. And I urge you to do your own research. And this is just for us to have open discussions and explore this space. But Holly, let me know if you'd like for me to share the screen. If not, we can just have, I'll let you read out what you want to read out.
Yeah, didn't have anything for screen sharing, so I'm just going to read what
Yeah,
I've
of
written.
course.
So we see in the markets and the politics and financial structure, there's big, deep systematic shifts taking place. And we've been seeing that for a while. And it's years in the making. I mean, this is so long thought out with how they just slowly implement it. Because when you're doing a major financial shift like this, it can't be done overnight. Like it's really probably decades in the making to start turning the ship around in the financial markets. So we're seeing that, and what we're seeing now is coming into clearer picture where we can see things are actually changing. So one of the big things we keep hearing about is this, digital currencies, the cryptocurrencies, and how all of that plays into the new financial system. So banks hold more gold than US treasuries, and financial systems are holding value over this currency, which is the debt based Ponzi scheme, the fiat currency. And even in all the channels that I'm dealing with, I am seeing a massive buy of gold because everybody knows they want gold is backing this whole new financial system. So central banks and governments are no longer printing money to sustain a financial system. And that's what we've had for, decades and decades. So the dollar has lost 8.3% since January. So US Treasuries was a gold standard, but it's no longer seen that way. And the bond market, which was the cornerstone of the financial structure, that is a ticking time bomb. And that's why gold has been classified now as a tier one asset under Basel III regulation. So we used to be on prior to Nixon on a gold standard, and he took us off of that. So we've been in this Ponzi scheme, if you want to call it, fiat dollar since then, of just printing money out of nowhere, not backed by anything. And that's all coming to a screeching halt. The fiat is cracking. We can see that happening now. Gold is being introduced not as a collateral into the monetary system, but as a investment, which is why we're seeing gold at $4,000 an ounce right now. And they're predicting it's going to be going up well beyond $4,000 an ounce. Like they have estimates of, $84,000 an
Wow.
ounce. So gold is cornerstone to this. And I see people that are in the know of this, that, governments or big wealthy countries, they are buying massive amounts of gold, not in the ounces, but metric tons, because they know this is what they need to have.
Mhm.
So we're seeing a merger of gold and digital assets We're not going to be on a complete gold standard, but we're going to be on a digital gold standard. And that's where this whole tokenization comes into play with real physical assets merge. So it's the tokenized assets and the real physical assets merge. And I also just read the other day that every single thing in the near future is going to be tokenized. You're going to have real estate tokenized, wine will be tokenized. Anything and everything that you buy is going to be tokenized. So that's how they are moving all of this onto the blockchain. So all banks, the CBI, the IMF, the BIF, all have been moving towards this. And the stable coins and tokenized assets and the central bank gold reserves, they're merging into a single operating system. So that's key. That's where all of this comes into play. It's the stable coins, the tokenized assets, and the central bank's gold reserves all merging into one operating system. And then this is where XRP, we hear about, it's a digital asset. So XRP is a bridge asset, which a lot of people have heard about that. And so what you're doing, XRP is compliant, and that's a big word that we're going to be seeing. Anything now going forward needs to be compliant. XRP is compliant. It's the only compliant digital asset to show up as a legitimate asset and not a security. And that's why they were put under massive scrutiny. And, all these SEC orders against them, and they've just been held up, and their true price has been suppressed for the longest time. But we're going to see that jump as well. So it's all about integration and moving the liquidity across borders. And that's what XRP is. It's a cross-border payment. It's a bridge payment. So you have physical assets, gold, and cryptos. Those are the real bases of the new financial system. That's the blockstone of it. And when markets move, you are moving, like anybody in the know and that's wealthy holds these three things. Mm-hmm. So whatever one jumps, they're going to be reaping the benefit. So if you hold physical assets in a jump, you can move from one of these to the other, and they're always have a winning hand. Like, you want to diversify, we hear diversification. You don't want to just hold one thing. You want to diversify, so as the markets move, you move with it. And the dollar will continue to lose value, as we're seeing. Treasuries and debt lose demand, and then gold rises. That's why we're seeing gold rise. Digital assets bridge all together. They invert the purchasing power, and gold goes up. And Trump has the executive authority to reset the gold price. So that would be interesting if he does that soon. So the new architecture of value is digital. Each blockchain solves a problem of settlement and how money moves and liquidity across the world. That's what the blockchain's all about. So it makes payment really easy, matter of seconds. XRP and XLM form a unified certainty for binding or for bridging. XRP is a cross-border payment to connect the banks. And then Ripple built the rails, and we've heard of the new rails for the new financial system being built. That's what Ripple is. XRP moves the value. It's institutional. It's the backbone of the wholesale. XLM is retail, and it's global and institutional, and it powers the people, and it's the retail side of it. Then you have the last one is SHX. It's a liquidity infrastructure bridge built on Stellar, and it connects fiat and digital on a compliant network. So it's operational liquidity to keep all of these ISO compliant. It's unified real-time internet and financial system, liquidity, compliant, and inclusive. And that's what the whole new financial system is all about. It's 3 layers, one network for the new financial digital age, and we're moving to an asset-backed system. So that's breaking it down in a nutshell of what we're shifting to. So do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, so what are the deep state challenges to this, and how do we know it's it's being done for the good or for the bad? Or when I say bad, I want to specify control.
Okay, so XRP was set up to be, and we've been reading about this as well, its own bank. They weren't going to be using any of the central banks, but there's been a lot of kickback and I'm sure a lot of horse trading going on behind the scenes. That's why they're integrating the central banks, the IMF, the BIF, all of them are being integrated into this new system because they were going to be, just swept on the carpet and not be part of this. But they are part of it, but everybody has to be compliant. There's very strict protocols with Basel III and Basel IV protocols.
Okay, so with XRP, you mentioned it being tokenized.
Mhm.
Some of the discussions that I've had with people are concerned that they could make that token programmable money, where they can program a bit like the social credit score thing, where they could programmable money, which isn't complete sovereignty. What do you think about that?
That's talked about out there, and I will say there was, so you have 2 financial systems, kind of, well, really 3, running parallel. You have our old financial system, and the deep state people understand that we're moving to a digital age and we have a new financial system. And they've tried to interject theirs into the new one that is the white hats one that we're seeing. And there's a lot of fear based of this credit score. And if you're 100% digital, I actually saw a commercial that it was a complete digital age. If you didn't have the right credit score, you couldn't get food, you couldn't start your car, you had to show up at work. And if you didn't, you wouldn't get your credit score to be able to even open your house. I mean, it was crazy. So there's a lot of fear mongering going on because they play both sides to keep people very confused what's going on. I will say the white hats are in control and they are moving forward with a digital system that's integrative of all, and all that other stuff that we're seeing is just the deep state trying to put fear into us of this new financial system.
And what do you think about XRP in the sense that Ripple Labs own, I think, still 50% of XRP, which means that they could in the future sell the XRP, which is a lot of XRP, and that would significantly reduce the price. And also, why not use a stable coin instead? For the banking system to do transfers? Why XRP?
So XRP was under such scrutiny, as we've all heard about, for years and years and years, and it all the other, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, they've all taken off, and they didn't have the regulations put on them or the scrutiny like XRP, but XRP is completely compliant. And it is the backbone of this new system. It's integrative as cross bridge. So as everything in the world is going to be tokenized, you're going to need more XRP. So there's going to be a demand for it. So yes, they're going to have to keep putting more into the system as the whole world becomes digitized and everything becomes tokenized. So it's going to go up in value because that is what this whole new system is being built on. And
Okay,
Ripple is the rails, XRP is the cross-border payments.
I see. So yes, I mean, if I see XRP more of an opportunity to make a lot of money, where you can then use it as a bridge to have an exit plan and then put it into Bitcoin or gold. I really feel that Bitcoin and gold is more of a sovereign asset. What do you think about that?
Yes. And, a lot of people, we heard about for years, Bitcoin was bad. Bitcoin was on the black markets and, it wasn't good and it was going to go away. Well, I believe that Bitcoin has been turned around and any bad that it was doing has been cleaned out behind the scenes. Bitcoin was at an all-time high, I think last week of, what did it go up to 126,000 a token? I mean, it's just crazy. I even have people in my circles talking about they see it going up to 200,000. I mean, it still is in the financial markets that I deal in. People want Bitcoin. They know Bitcoin is valuable and going to go up. So, as much as we thought or was told it was bad, I really believe it's been turned around and good, which is why Trump has even talked about Bitcoin.
So Bitcoin is a technology, tokenized technology that cannot be hacked. We know it's outperformed all the traditional markets in the world in regards to the way it's increased in value. And I think that the stories behind Bitcoin, it being used for under the black market, although it's true, although that can be true, I believe that it doesn't mean that the technology itself is bad. It's just that bad people have been abusing the technology for their advantage. And I believe that that was capitalized by the mainstream media to discredit Bitcoin because they don't, in my opinion, want people to know how great Bitcoin is because, of course, the system that we live in, the simulation, does not advocate for sovereignty. They advocate for control and dependency.
Correct.
Yeah, so and that's what I think about that. Um, okay, cool. So should we move on to currencies, or do you have anything else that you'd like to
No,
discuss?
that's the groundwork for the new system and how it all is being integrated. So we can talk about currencies. So you're referencing the revaluation of currencies globally going on.
Yeah, of course, with the currencies that are heavily undervalued, like the Vietnamese dong, the Iraqi dinar, are they've been manipulated, currency manipulators by the Fed, and they're very, very weak. Um, would you like to explain why they would go level playing field with the dollar, which has been spoken about
Yes.
by Trump himself and Judy Shelton recently? She spoke of a level playing field and also the currency manipulators activity that's been going on with that. Um, what, why would that, why, if you could explain why there was currency manipulators and explain why it would go level playing field and what people need to know about those in respect to opportunity wealth.
Okay. So for years, there's been undervalued currencies globally. And that was done deliberately because you have superpowers in the world. And if they can suppress other currencies around the world, well, that makes their currency more powerful, such as I will take example, the USA. The USA, they forced the world to use their petrodollar for oil, and everybody else had to adopt to this standard. And that made them a superpower around the world. And all the other countries were held suppressed. So now enter this whole new financial system, which is about being sovereign. It's about every country being their own sovereign country with their currency on a level playing field where one country doesn't have strength and power over another or own another country. It's every country is allowed to be at the same level. And we can see, like Trump or don't like Trump, there's people that don't like him, but he has done an amazing job around the world with bringing this forward, with having all these other countries that have, we'll take England. I know you're in England, but we saw him go and meet with the Queen. We saw him meet with King Charles. Well, all those are really everybody breaking free from being held under the reins of, Britain. America was held under the reins of Britain. There's other countries. Every country is being set free where then they will be able to be a leader in the world with their own currency at the same level and not be, a third world country. So it's leveling the playing field. Trump talked about that early on when he came president, his first term, that he wants to level the playing field for everybody.
I see.
I don't know if I answered. There might have been another question in there because you asked a lot.
No, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I should have done it one by one. So of course that would be the reason why it would be a level playing field, and I think that countries have been taken advantage of by the deep state, if you like.
Absolutely.
Especially when we know Israel is involved, and a lot of the Muslim countries have been taken advantage for the currency manipulators, and also some parts in Asia as well, like the Vietnamese dong, South America as well. So they have a lot of resources there, I believe, like minerals and oil, which would contribute to, and even gold that was stolen from them. So that would that be given back to them? Would they reset their currency to the true value of their minerals?
Yes, every country will be resetting back to their minerals. And, Vietnam, we went to war with them. And I read an article a long time ago that we didn't go to war to fight them. We went to war because there was gold in their mountains that we wanted to go and confiscate, and they couldn't find them. So that's why we went to war with them. Same with, Iraq. Iraq, oh my God, that poor country, what we had done to them. Iraq is such a wealthy country. You could kick the dirt and you see gold just in their dirt. That's how prevalent gold is in that country. So a lot of these wars were all to gain countries' resources. Not that, anybody was bad, but they paint them as bad because it gives a reason to go in and do what they're doing to these countries. But it's all about resources. Everything boils down to that. So when every country has their own currencies revalued at the same level, and we're going to see that with the Vietnamese dong, with the Iraqi dinar, you have the bolivar. There's so many. There's probably 30 in, I don't want to say a basket because they're going to revalue probably all at the same time, but they're all going to be set up where they'll be back playing field with everybody else, and we're waiting for that to happen. And they're expecting that to happen very soon. I know everybody's so tired of hearing it's happening now, it's today, it's tomorrow. And nobody knows exactly when it is going to happen. But if you look what's going on in Iraq, you can see they have set up their whole new government. It's about stability and security. And they have that. And they've told the world that. They've passed their HCL, which took 18 years to fully pass and have that done. They are just waiting for the go, like every other country, to say, we're ready, let's go. And we embark on this whole new financial system. It's all going to be on the blockchain, and there's not going to be any of the backdoor trading that would happen on the old system, because they would take your money and trade it while you're sleeping, or take 4 or 5 days on the Swift system to get it to you, but they're trading it that whole time. It's all in real time right now, the new system.
Absolutely. Can you also explain the opportunity why or how people can benefit from this? Because I'm a big believer in diversifying your portfolio when you have an investment. You know, you might have some XRPs, Bitcoins, gold, silver, um, you know, but it's important to understand that if this revalues, this could be a very big opportunity for the wealth transfer. Um, because obviously, Bitcoin's very expensive now. It's at 120, it's the highest we've seen is 126,000. What's the opportunity for this? Because there was a big one that happened in 93 when the Kuwaiti dinar revalued, it restored its pre-Gulf War rate back to the way it was before.
Right.
And people that held Kuwaiti dinar could become very wealthy overnight when it went back to the original rates, because when during the Gulf War it devalued its currency. And this is why they kept attacking Iraq, like what you were saying. This kept the currency very low. So, what's the opportunity for those people waiting now regarding these currencies?
So if you hold any of these foreign currencies, I'm just going to take example the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong. If you hold them in your possession, when they revalue, then whatever that revalued rate is what you're going to benefit from. And I've always looked at it as a long-term investment. Everybody said, "Oh, I've been involved for 15 years." And I was told 15 years ago, "Oh my God, it's revaluing tomorrow. Hurry up and get it because it's going to go." And here we are 15 years later. So it's one of those things you want to hold on to that is going to revalue, because we've seen it, history in the repeats itself with Kuwait, what happened. It's going to be the same with the Iraqi dinar, same with Vietnamese dong, and same with other currencies. So having these in your portfolio, when it happens, you will gain the benefit when that revalues. Other things you want to have in your portfolio: gold. Gold is going to go up tremendously, especially if, the US, our gold price has not been revalued. I had spoken about this, and I don't have my notes in front of me a while ago, but we're still for the US, they base our gold at like $43 an ounce. We have not revalued in the United States to the current gold price. So it's just crazy. So if we go and revalue in our country to the current gold price, gold's just going to go up tremendously. Silver, when I first started buying silver, it was $17 an ounce. It went up to, last week, I haven't checked this week's prices, but last week it was at $53 an ounce.
Wow.
That's going to go up. That's been a suppressed currency that, they have held that, and all the I've read countries have run out of silver, like they don't have enough silver. So those are things, and cryptos. You want to also have cryptocurrencies because those are going to increase in value. We're at the point right now where we are breaking brand new ground of a whole new financial structure, that it's basically back in the when we had the Great Depression, what was that, 1930, there were people through the stock market that lost everything, and people that gained, became overnight millionaires because they positioned themselves in the market to take that rise up. So holding gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, these foreign assets, when they take the rise up, you're going to rise up with it and, create millionaires.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is the what we're hearing for many years, and I've been holding Iraqi dinar as well for the last 5 years. And when 2020 came, many of us thought that we would see many changes then, but I think that these changes are starting to happen now.
Yes.
We're starting to feel it. There's a collapse and there's a
Yeah.
change. Even people are just waking up. They're becoming more curious. They're more aware of the simulation. Um, but yeah, it's I'm going to leave the link below in the description for the Iraqi dinar and other foreign currencies as well, so people can have a look and they can have some for themselves as well. I'm a very big believer in diversifying your portfolio. But again, we're not financial advisors. I urge you to do your research and not take what we say gospel. But the link is below, so do click on that. And Holly, thank you very much for sharing
Thank
everything
you.
with us today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Yes, the biggest question everybody wants to know is when. And what I could tell you is if you look at the financial markets and look what's being done, you can see it's being unfolded on the global scene very precisely. So there's not a disruption in these markets. It's just a little piece added here, a little piece added there. And it's been years of adding pieces. So when we do the flip, you really won't even notice that we've flipped to a whole new system. That's how seamless they have done that. And just watch what's being done, and you can see how much closer we're getting. So thank you, Nick, for having me on.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Holly, and we'll speak
Thank
again
you.
soon. You take care.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.